I never thought my dream home would become the stage for my darkest betrayal. I'm Erica, and behind the perfect facade of our sprawling suburban sanctuary, with its whispering pine trees and sunlit backyard barbecues, a storm was brewing I couldn't see coming. My husband Mark, the charismatic center of every gathering, held a secret so twisted it turned our haven into a battlefield of trust and temptation. As laughter echoed under the string lights, I felt the weight of hungry eyes and unspoken desires closing in, pulling me toward a choice that could shatter everything. What did I do when the line between loyalty and longing blurred in the heat of that fateful night? Picture this. I'm standing at the edge of my new backyard, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the grass, and I'm holding a glass of iced tea that's sweating almost as much as I am in this summer heat. My name's Erica. I'm 35, and this sprawling suburban house on the outskirts of town is supposed to be my sanctuary. After years of squeezing into tiny apartments with walls so thin I could hear the neighbors' arguments, this place feels like a dream I'm still waiting to wake up from. It's got a massive yard, a shiny grill my husband Mark insisted we needed the day we moved in, and a row of tall pine trees that whisper secrets every time the wind picks up. I can still smell the fresh paint from the house, mingling with the scent of newly cut grass, and it's intoxicating in a way I didn't expect. Mark, my husband of 8 years, is 38, a project manager at a construction firm, and the kind of man who fills a room just by walking into it. His laugh is loud, booming, the kind that makes everyone turn and smile, and he's got this effortless charm that puts people at ease in seconds. But there's another side to him, a need to steer the ship, to make sure everything and everyone falls into line. It's subtle, the way he'll nudge me to agree with his plans or decide who we're hosting next, but I feel it, like a current under still water. Still, I can't deny how much he's poured into making this house our home. The moment we got the keys, he turned this space into a stage for his energy. Almost every weekend, our driveway is packed with cars, friends, colleagues, relatives, all drawn in by Mark's invitations. There's always a barbecue going, music blaring, and voices bouncing off those pine trees until late into the night. Me, I'm quieter, more reserved, though I've got a warmth I like to think people feel when they're around me. I don't mind hosting, setting out trays of food, or mixing drinks with a smile. But sometimes it feels like I'm playing a part, like I'm the perfect wife in Mark's perfect world. I'm thrilled about this new chapter, don't get me wrong. This house, with its wide windows and endless space, is a symbol of everything we've worked for. Of Mark's success and the dreams we scribbled out together over cheap wine in our first tiny place. But there's this quiet unease I can't shake. A feeling that our private haven has become a public arena overnight. I find myself retreating to the edges of these gatherings, watching from the sidelines as Mark holds court, wondering if this is really the fresh start I imagined. The yard, though, it's my favorite part. It stretches out like a green canvas, bordered by those whispering pines, and on quiet mornings, I'll step outside just to breathe it in. The air smells like earth and possibility, and I can almost forget the world around me as the late afternoon melted into a warm July evening, finding myself caught up in the rhythm of yet another gathering in our sprawling backyard. The sun dipped low, painting golden streaks across the grass, turning the whole scene into something out of a painting. I could feel the heat of the day lingering, a soft warmth against my skin as I moved through the yard, my light sundress fluttering in the gentle breeze. The folding tables were draped with red checkered cloths, loaded with bowls of chips, trays of watermelon slices, and stacks of paper plates. Over by the grill, the air was thick with the mouth-watering scent of sizzling burgers and hot dogs, the smoke curling lazily into the sky.
Nearby, a cooler sat packed to the brim with ice-cold beers, the glass bottles clinking every time someone reached in for a fresh one. Mark was in his element, standing by the grill with a faded baseball cap tilted back on his head, a wide grin splitting his face as he flipped patties with a practiced hand. His laughter boomed across the yard, drawing smiles from everyone around him as he cracked one-liners and tossed playful jabs at his buddies. I couldn't help but watch him for a moment, admiring how effortlessly he commanded attention, how he turned a simple barbecue into a full-blown event. But I noticed something else too. He was knocking back beers faster than usual, his cheeks already flushed with a rosy glow as he slapped a hand on someone's shoulder, his voice a little louder, a little rougher.
I kept busy, weaving through the small crowd, refilling chip bowls, and exchanging quick smiles with the guests. My hands were full, but my mind was half elsewhere, taking in the scene, the chatter, the clink of bottles. Mark had invited a few of his colleagues from the construction firm this time, and their presence seemed to shift the air somehow, adding a weight I couldn't quite place. There was Greg, a burly man in his late 40s, his gravelly voice cutting through the noise as he recounted some story about a job site mishap. He had a way of staring too long, his eyes lingering on me as I passed by, making my skin prickle with an unease I tried to shrug off. Then there was Tom, lean and quiet, in his early 30s, with sharp, observant eyes that seemed to catalog every detail around him. He didn't say much, but I felt his gaze tracking my movements, steady and unblinking. And finally, Daniel, older, with salt and pepper hair and a disarming smile that could charm anyone in seconds. He had a polished air about him, but even his friendly nods carried something heavier, something I couldn't read. These men, seasoned professionals from Mark's world, brought a different energy to the picnic. Their laughter was loud, filling the yard, but their looks felt intrusive, like they were sizing up more than just the burgers on the grill. I caught their eyes on me more than once as I moved between tables, adjusting a tray here or wiping a. As the evening deepened, the sky turned a bruised purple, casting an almost eerie glow over the yard. The string lights Mark had hung between the trees flickered on, their soft amber bulbs swaying gently in the breeze, creating pools of light and shadow across the grass. I could feel the air growing thicker, heavier somehow, like it was pressing down on me, charged with something I couldn't name. The laughter of the men around me had grown more raucous, their voices roughened by the beers they'd been downing all night. Empty cans littered the edges of the tables, glinting under the lights, a testament to how far the night had already gone. I was near the grill, wiping my hands on a worn kitchen towel, the smoky scent of charred meat still clinging to the air. My sundress felt suddenly too thin, too revealing under the weight of the gazes I'd been dodging for hours. I caught Greg's stare again, his eyes tracing the lines of my silhouette with an intensity that made my stomach twist. It wasn't just a glance this time, it was deliberate, hungry, and it sent a shiver down my spine that I couldn't ignore. Nearby, Tom and Daniel had paused their conversation, their voices dropping to low murmurs as they turned their heads my way. I could feel their attention like a physical touch, sharp and invasive, making my skin prickle with unease. I wanted to retreat, to slip back into the house and hide behind the safety of locked doors, but my feet felt glued to the ground, trapped by the weight of the moment. Before I could muster the will to move, Mark's voice sliced through the noise, sharp and commanding, pulling every eye in the yard toward him. He was standing by the cooler, a beer dangling loosely in his hand, the condensation dripping onto the grass. His eyes were locked on mine, intense in a way I hadn't seen before, and there was something in his expression I couldn't read, something dark, almost calculating. "She's not just beautiful," he said loudly, his voice carrying over the hum of conversation, making sure everyone heard. "She knows how to surprise." The words hung in the air, heavy and loaded, and I froze, confusion washing over me like a cold wave. My heart started thudding in my chest, a frantic rhythm I couldn't control, as the men around me turned their heads, their interest sharpening into something predatory. I didn't understand what he meant, not yet, but the way they looked at me, like I was something to be claimed, made my throat tighten with dread. I stood there, my mind racing, trying to piece together what was happening. What kind of surprise was he talking about? Why was he saying this now, in front of everyone? Then Mark nodded toward me, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper that somehow still reached every ear in the yard. "If you want, see for yourself." The words hit me like a punch to the gut, knocking the air out of my lungs. I realized, with a sickening clarity that made my knees weak, what he was implying. He was offering me up, inviting his colleagues to cross a line I never imagined anyone would dare to approach. My breath came shallow, my hands trembling as I clutched the towel tighter, as if it could shield me from the reality unfolding before me. Greg was the first to move, stepping forward with a slow, deliberate stride. His rough hand brushed against mine, a fleeting touch that felt like a test, gauging my reaction. I didn't pull away, not yet, though every instinct screamed at me to run. Tom was next, his lean frame closing the distance as his fingers grazed my shoulder, light but intentional, sending an unwanted jolt through me. Daniel stayed back a step, watching with a smirk that curled his lips, his eyes glinting with something dangerous under the string lights. I turned my gaze to Mark, desperate for him to intervene, to call this off, to laugh and say it was all some twisted misunderstanding. But he said nothing. Instead, he stepped back, his face blank, unreadable, and lowered himself onto a chair under one of the tall pine trees. He sat there, beer still in hand, watching the scene unfold like a spectator at a show. I'm standing there, caught in a surreal haze that wraps around me like a heavy fog, my heart pounding so hard it feels like it might break through my chest. Greg's hand lingers on mine, his grip firm but not forceful, almost like he's asking a question without words. There's a roughness to his touch, calloused fingers against my skin, and it sends a shiver up my arm that I can't suppress. Tom's presence is closer now, his touch on my shoulder lighter, tentative, like he's testing the waters, his fingers barely brushing the fabric of my sundress. It's enough to make my breath catch, though, a quiet gasp I hope no one hears. Then there's Daniel, stepping in just a bit nearer, his breath warm against my ear as he murmurs something low, something I can't quite make out over the deafening rush of blood in my ears. His voice is smooth, almost too smooth, and it coils around me like a whisper of something forbidden. The yard around us feels like a dreamscape, detached from reality. The string lights above flicker gently, casting a soft golden glow that dances across the grass, creating shadows that seem to shift and breathe on their own. In the distance, the hum of crickets weaves through the air, a constant, eerie backdrop to the tension building inside me. The smell of charred meat from the grill still clings to the night, mixing with the faint, earthy scent of the nearby pines. It's a strange cocktail of familiarity and danger, grounding me and unsettling me all at once. I can't help but steal a glance at Mark again, sitting under that pine tree, his face half hidden in the dim light. His beer sits untouched in his hand, condensation dripping slowly onto the ground, and I search his expression for anything, anger, jealousy, even a flicker of regret. But there's nothing. Just a cold detachment, a silent permission that slices through me sharper than any words could. His eyes meet mine for a fleeting second, and I feel the weight of his gaze, heavy with unspoken things, before he looks away, as if I'm no longer his concern. Inside, I'm a storm of conflict, torn in two directions, with a violence that threatens to shatter me. There's a part of me, the part I've always listened to, screaming to run inside, lock the door, and pretend this night never happened. I can almost feel the cool metal of the doorknob in my hand, the safety of four walls closing around me, shutting out this madness. But there's another part, darker, quieter, but growing louder with every passing second. It's the part that's tired, so tired of playing the perfect wife, of smiling through every barbecue, of fitting into the mold Mark carved out for me. It's the part that craves something raw, something real, something that burns through the numbness I've wrapped myself in for too long. And I hate that it's there, whispering to me. But I can't silence it, not now. Not with their eyes on me. Not with the heat of their nearness seeping into my skin. My body betrays my mind before I can stop it. I feel the flush creeping up my neck, spreading across my cheeks, a warmth I can't control as Greg's hand slides from mine to my wrist, his touch deliberate, a silent claim. My breath hitches, a sharp, audible sound in the stillness, and I curse myself for it, for letting them see how much this is affecting me. I take a step back, not out of refusal, but to steady myself, to find some kind of anchor in this spiraling moment. My sandal catches on the uneven grass, and I stumble just slightly, the small misstep feeling like a metaphor for everything I'm grappling with. Greg's grip tightens for a moment, steadying me, and I feel the eyes of Tom and Daniel on me too, watching, waiting. They pause, all of them, the air between us thick with anticipation, and I realize with a jolt that the choice is mine. They're not pushing, not yet, but they're ready, poised on the edge of something I can't fully comprehend, and it's up to me to decide whether to step over that edge or pull back before it's too late. And in that split second, with the weight of their stares and the silence of the night pressing in, I make a choice I never thought I'd make. I let go. I stop fighting the pull, stop resisting the storm inside me, and I let Greg, Tom, and Daniel close the distance between us. There's no turning back now, and I don't even try to pretend I want to. Greg's hands, rough and calloused from years of hard labor, find my waist, gripping with a firmness that sends a jolt through me, grounding me in this reckless moment. Tom, still hesitant but driven by something eager, lets his fingers trail along my arm, a touch so light it's almost teasing, yet it burns against my skin like a brand. And Daniel, ever the confident one, steps closer, his fingers tracing the line of my collarbone with a deliberate slowness that makes my breath stutter, his touch sparking a heat I can't ignore. The world around me sharpens into vivid, almost painful detail. My sandals slip off as I shift, the cool grass tickling the soles of my feet. A stark contrast to the warmth radiating from their bodies so close to mine. The night air brushes against my exposed skin, chilling me even as their nearness sets my nerves alight. A push and pull of sensation that leaves me dizzy. Beyond us, the pine trees rustle softly, their needles whispering in the breeze as if they're bearing witness to this forbidden act, their murmurs blending with the distant hum of crickets into a haunting chorus. The string lights above sway gently, casting fleeting shadows across our tangled forms, and I can still smell the lingering smokiness from the grill, now mixed with the raw, earthy scent of desire hanging heavy in the air. I steal another glance at Mark, still seated under that apple tree he planted with such pride when we first moved in, just steps away from where I stand. His posture is rigid, unyielding, like a statue carved from stone, but he doesn't move, doesn't speak. His silence screams louder than any protest could, a void that swallows any hope of intervention. I search his shadowed face for a reaction, for anything to tell me what he's feeling, but there's only that blank stare, cutting through the dim light. And in that moment, with his eyes avoiding mine, I realize something shocking about myself. I thought I'd feel guilt, a crushing weight of remorse for betraying him right here in our own yard. But I don't. Instead, there's a rush, a wild, intoxicating blend of shame and liberation coursing through me, as if I've broken free from chains I didn't even know I was wearing. It's a fierce, almost defiant pleasure, A reclaiming of something I've denied myself for far too long. This isn't just about the physical pull, though that's undeniable, a current sweeping me under with every touch, every breath shared in this stolen space. It's deeper, rawer. A rebellion against the role I've played for years, the perfect wife smiling through every expectation. It's a stand against Mark's quiet control, the way he's shaped our life into something I thought I wanted, a mold I've bent myself to fit. Every moment here, under the watchful gaze of those pines, feels like a strike against that life, a declaration that I'm more than the part I've been assigned. My heart races with the thrill of it, even as a hollow ache lingers beneath, a whisper of what this might cost me. Time seems to blur, stretching and contracting in ways I can't grasp, until the intensity fades into a heavy, charged stillness. Our breaths come in ragged gasps, mingling in the cool night air as we slowly disentangle, the heat of the moment giving way to an awkward reality. Greg steps back first, rubbing the back of his neck with a sheepish grin, his eyes darting away as if he's just woken from a dream he can't quite believe. Tom follows, his fingers slipping from my arm as he mutters something under his breath, a half laugh that doesn't reach his eyes. Daniel lingers a moment longer, his touch finally withdrawing as he straightens up, his smirk fading into something more guarded, almost uncertain. The night seems to snap back into focus, the surreal haze lifting as the weight of what just happened settles over us like a heavy fog. I stand there, my breath still uneven, feeling the cool grass under my bare feet, the lingering warmth on my skin now replaced by a creeping chill. The air feels different, thicker, as if it's holding its breath along with me. I can't look at them directly, not yet, my eyes darting to the ground, to the scattered empty cans glinting under the string lights, anywhere but at their faces. The men start to mumble their goodbyes, their voices low and awkward, barely audible over the rustling of the pine trees. They avoid meeting my gaze, their earlier boldness gone, replaced by a hurried need to escape the tension that now chokes the yard. Greg grabs his jacket from a nearby chair, slinging it over his shoulder with a gruff nod in no one's direction. Tom fumbles with his keys, dropping them once before scooping them up, his movements jerky as he heads toward the driveway. Daniel lingers the longest, picking up a stray bottle from the table, rolling it between his palms as if debating whether to say something. But he doesn't. He just gives a small, tight smile, more to himself than to me, and turns away, following the others to their cars. I hear the crunch of gravel under their boots, the distant sound of engines starting, and then they're gone, their taillights disappearing into the dark like fading embers. The yard falls into an eerie silence, the kind that presses against your ears, making every small sound feel amplified. The string lights above flicker, one bulb suddenly burning out with a faint pop, casting a patch of shadow over the grass. I'm left standing near the grill, the lingering scent of charred meat now sour in my nose, my arms crossed tight over my chest as if they can hold me together. The night feels colder, the breeze cutting through my thin sundress, raising goosebumps on my skin. I don't move, not yet. My eyes scanning the empty space where laughter and chaos reigned just moments ago. It's like the yard itself is holding the memory of what transpired. The grass trampled in places, the air still heavy with unspoken things. I see Mark then, rising slowly from his spot under the apple tree, his movements stiff, almost mechanical. My stomach tightens as he starts walking toward me, each step deliberate, measured, like he's crossing a battlefield. I brace myself, expecting anger, accusations, maybe even a shout that would shatter this suffocating quiet. My hands clench into fists at my sides, my nails digging into my palms as I prepare for the storm I'm sure is coming. But when he stops a few feet away, he doesn't look at me. His eyes are on the apple tree, its branches swaying slightly in the breeze, and his voice comes out flat, stripped of any emotion. Guess we'll see if it bears fruit next year. The words hang between us, heavy with a meaning that goes beyond the tree, a quiet jab that cuts deeper than any yell could. I feel my throat tighten, a lump forming that I can't swallow down, but I don't respond. There's nothing to say, nothing that would bridge the chasm that's opened up tonight. He doesn't wait for an answer anyway. He just turns, his shoulders hunched and heads inside, the screen door creaking shut behind him with a finality that echoes in my chest. I'm alone now, truly alone, in the dark yard. The house looms behind me, its windows black and uninviting, a stark contrast to the warmth it promised when we first moved in. I let out a shaky breath, my arms uncrossing as I sink to the ground near the apple tree, the cool grass prickling against my legs. My fingers dig into the soil where Mark planted this tree with such care, such hope, back when this place felt like a new beginning. The dirt is soft, yielding under my touch, and I wonder if anything pure can grow from ground that's been so deeply tainted by betrayal. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.